Okay, today we will look at parallel lines in angles. Parallel lines in angles. Solving equation involving parallel lines in angles is very simple. The only thing that you need is to understand the principles behind the operation of parallel lines. Okay. Now, for you to tackle any equation involving parallel lines, there are two key things that you need to look at the equation before you identify whether the equation involve or the equation that you are going to solve is a parallel line equation involving angles. Okay, the first thing that you need to look at, the first thing will be the arrows. Okay, look at you have seen this arrow. There's an arrow here. When you come here to, there is what, another arrow here. This is the first key thing that you need to check. So when you are solving an equation involving parallel lines, you need to check for these arrows. They are telling you they are parallel lines. Parallel lines do not meet. Okay, so you check for the angles, the arrows. Okay, now if you didn't see the arrows, sometimes they bring the slash, this double slash. It's telling you they are parallel. Okay, the two lines are parallel, they do not meet. So anytime you are solving an equation, you want to identify whether it's a parallel line. It's either you look at the arrows, the two arrows, or you look for these parallel lines. Okay, or these two lines, these slash lines, you look for them. Okay, now when you look at this diagram carefully, you realize that there are three lines. Okay, the first line we have P to Q. Okay, the second one we have S towards R. Then the third one we have M towards N. There are three lines. Okay, now the first two lines contains with arrows. Okay, that means they are parallel. These two lines will never meet, right? They are parallel lines. Then we have a line that cut across the two lines. This line is what we call the transversal line, right? From M to N is what we call the transversal line. You can look at it. It cut across these two lines, right? Cut across the two parallel lines. We call it the transversal what line. Okay. Now, the cut of the transversal line, you can see they form angles around each cut. Okay. So when you look at this, where the two lines meet, the transversal line and the parallel line, they form angles around that point. When you come here, when you look at where the transversal line and the parallel line means, they form another angle over there. Okay, so at each midpoint there are angles that are formed over there. Okay, at each midpoint they form angles. Okay, now when you have equation involving parallel lines, there are certain things that you need to look at. Okay, there are certain things that you need to look at. The first one that you need to look at is what we call corresponding angles. Okay, a question may ask you to look for corresponding angles. Now when you look at this diagram carefully, you realize that when they meet they form angles. Now there are angles that are formed at the top here, and there are angles that are formed below here, and there are angles that are formed at the top here, and there are angles that are formed below here, right, or below this line. Okay, now the all the angles here, the angles at the top here, and all the angles here are corresponding. Okay, so the angle at the top of this arrow here and the angle here are all corresponding, and corresponding angles are equal, meaning the angle here, this angle here, is equal to the angle here. They are equal, right? And the angle here and the angle here, these two angles are also equal. The angle here and the angle here, these two angles are also equal. It means that if this is 10 degrees, this will also be 10, right? This is 10, this is maybe 60, this is 120 or 150, this will also be what, 150. Okay, corresponding angles are equal. So all the angles at the top of this line and all the angles at the top of these parallel lines are equal. Okay, now all the angles below here, this parallel line, and the angles below here, they are also what, equal. They are also what, corresponding. They are also equal. Okay, so they will give you the same value. It means that if this place is 20 degrees, this will also be 20, right? If this is 160, this will also be what, 160. So corresponding angles are what, equal. Okay, now the other angles that we'll look at is what we call alternate angles. Okay, so alternate angles, this angle and this angle, they are alternating. The angle here and the angle here, they are alternating. The angle here and the angle here, they are also what? Alternating, right? And alternate angles are also what? Equal. Okay. Then the next one, we call it co-interior angles. The angle here and the angle here, they are co-interior angles. The angle here and the angle here, these two angles are co-interior. This and this, interior, inside. This and this, they are also co-interior. And co-interior angles sum up to 180 degrees. It means that A plus G will give you 180 degrees. Then B plus H will also give you what? 180 degrees. Co-interior angles. When you sum them up, they will give you what? 180 degrees. Then the next one that we'll look at, it will be vertically opposite angles. Okay, we'll look at vertically opposite angles. So this angle is vertically opposite to this, and they are also equal. So it means that if this is 10, this will also be 10. If this is 170, this will also be 170. Co-interior angle, vertically opposite angles. This angle is also equal to this, vertically opposite. This is also equal to this. Okay, these are vertically opposite what? Angles. Okay, they are also equal. Vertically opposite angles are equal, as we look at it at the previous lessons. Okay, H is equal to E, G is equal to F, D is equal to E, C is equal to F. Okay, now when you look at this, you can also find angle on a straight line. You can see here, right? There's a straight line. So A plus B will give you 180. Then we have C plus D. C plus D will also give you 180. Then we have G plus H will give you 180. E plus F will also give you 180. Okay. At the same point, you can also find angle at a point. You can see this is sum of angles around a circle, 360 degrees. Okay. Angle at a point. Sum of angles around this point will give me 360. Sum of angles around this point will give me 360. So sum of angles around a circle is 360. Okay. Angle at a point. So here you can see A plus B plus C plus D will give me 360. So all the angle around this circle will give me 360. All the angles here will also give me 360. Okay. So basically this is what angle containing parallel lines basically means. So when you understand this principle, you'll be able to deal with any equation involving angles in parallel lines or parallel lines containing with angle. It's very, very simple if you understand this principle.